Hi, hello everyone. Welcome to the channel. I'm Cheryl, and this is True Crime and Other Stuff. Thanks for being here, where I like to bring you the facts about true crime, the missing, current events, or anything I find interesting or important. Okay, so I was going to make another Delphi video, but this case just gives me a headache. So we're just going to watch some news clips about what's going on lately. Um, let's start with the first one.
The judge of ambush murders trial, Judge Fran Gull announced defense attorneys Andrew Baldwin and Brad Rosie would be withdrawing themselves from the case. Now, Rosie filed a motion to continue his representation of Allen, claiming the court ambushed him and Baldwin, placing them in a compromising position. Along with his filing to retain representation for Allen, Rosie has asked the Indiana Supreme Court to step in and remove Gull from the case, questioning her impartiality. Well, today, Gull appointed two new attorneys to represent Richard Allen. They are both from Allen County. Now, Richard Allen is charged with the murders of Abigail Abby Williams and Libby German. And they were teenagers who had disappeared while out walking on February 13, 2017. The girls' bodies were found the next day. All right, still with me, trial attorney Brian Silber. Brian, this one is getting a bit messy. I want to get your thoughts on how this is being handled. There were some issues. There was a hearing held. The judge had some options that day. The defense had let leak a couple of different times some information that certainly should not have been leaked. Early on, she was upset at them because they introduced to the press a scathing letter about the prosecution's case. She didn't like that. There was a gag order put on the case. So she had some options. She chose to, at least according to this defense attorney, take them in chambers and give them what he called a Hobson's choice. They either withdraw from the case or she would basically hang them out to dry in court and kick them off the case. And they, of course, chose option A.
You know, it's a highly unusual situation for a judge to remove a lawyer from a case. It's actually very extreme. I don't know this judge. I've never practiced in front of her. But it's also not uncommon for some judges to, no disrespect to them, maybe get what we call, if the real lawyers talking, that black robe fever. They kind of hold their position a little higher than they actually are. Maybe there's a battle of egos going on here, and she showed them who's boss. I don't know. I'd like to hear more about the judge's reason for removing them from the case, because certainly a criminal defendant, any litigant has the right to pick their lawyer. That is a fundamental right. At the same time, the judge may be onto something. You know, she has to make sure that this gentleman is getting effective representation. And if she feels that these lawyers are simply incompetent, she absolutely should put her foot down, and she may have done the right thing. I don't know the details. I can't weigh in on whether she did the right thing or the wrong thing. But it sounds to me like there's a little bit of drama going on here. And with these alleged leaks, which, by the way, it's my understanding the lawyers denied leaking anything. That trying your case in the media like that, that's a no-go. You should be trying it in the courtroom. And any judge who has to deal with that, and attorneys who practice in that way, certainly is well within their rights to take action.
Well, a couple of things. One, they didn't deny that they leaked it. They did deny that they leaked it. What they said was they allowed access to their office. A friend, someone they trusted, went in and they accessed the information. They left the information out. It was taken and that person leaked it, which to me, that's no argument at all. You know, that's an argument my kids make to me when there's things going on in the house or things missing or something. So my question to you is, again, you don't have to know this particular judge, but judges, in my experience, do often, I think, do you a favor if they feel like they want to take you off the case. And then they say to you, look, rather than put you and publicly humiliate you, because this is a case that has worldwide interest, I'm giving you the chance to walk away and we'll just move on without you. So it's interesting that they've taken this tact. What's your experience with judges? Do they tend to give attorneys that choice?
You know, it's very rare to see a lawyer removed. I can tell you it's never happened to me. I've never had a judge take me off a case, so I can't speak to that. But I will say one thing. You know, those lawyers don't work for the judge. No lawyer works for the judge. The judge works for the state of Florida. The lawyers work for their clients. To be perfectly honest, while of course I respect our judges and I will always conduct myself as a gentleman and as a professional, I frankly don't care because I'm here to fight for my client. They can threaten me all they want. I'm going to do what I think is correct within the law and the rules of ethics and procedure and professionalism and represent my client. They want to go embarrass me, go ahead and do that. I'm going to do what I think is the right thing to do. She may be correct in removing them, but that type of intimidation would not move me. I'm not going to let myself be intimidated by a judge. But again, I'm not the kind of lawyer that's going to do something unethical or unprofessional.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, so whose rights win out? I agree with you. Richard Allen has the right to choose the attorney that he wants according to the motion filed by his attorney. He has created a bond with him. It might affect his due process rights to get rid of him, but he didn't follow the rules of the court, and she made that very clear. So which went out in a weighing process?
Well, if they didn't follow her rules, then she is correct. You know, this story about them giving access to a third party who leaked it for them, they're responsible for that. You know, I think the judge may have done the right thing in the end, but we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, there's a lot more to come with this particular story, so we'll continue to follow it.
Yeah, this case has become a shit show. It's like a circus, man. Okay, so, well, I got a clip of Richard Allen coming to court. So let's take a look at this. Okay, I guess that's it. um, well, I don't know why they're keeping him in a prison. They say it's for his safety, but I don't know if I really buy that. If anybody knows, you can leave a comment. Okay, let's take a look at this video. news
Big
video.
breaking news coming out of Delphi, Indiana. Of course, we're talking about the case against defendant Richard Allen, accused of the murders of Abby Williams and Libby German. We just hit the anniversary of the date of his charging announcement. And today, his new lawyers were going before the judge, but not without some big drama. I want to bring in the guy in the know about all of this, Court TV's crime and justice correspondent, Matt Johnson. What in the world is going on here?
Another bombshell. And we talked about this on opening statements today, that the attorneys that were removed or withdrew from the case and then said that they wanted to stay on, well, now they were denied the ability to still represent him pro bono. This is the arrival of the suspect accused of killing Libby German and Abby Williams back in February of 2017, making his way into Carroll County Courthouse today. Remember, we didn't even get a chance to see him a week and a half ago when there was that emergency hearing after the leak of documents and those crime scene photos. That led to the judge holding that hearing and saying that she wanted them to appear before her, and then they withdrew.
Right.
Well, now the new attorneys have also filed for a motion to move the trial date from January, and they will now have the set trial date in October. But going back next year,
Matt.
this is a part of the document that was filed today for the pro bono.
Yeah.
This is filed by Andrew Baldwin, and it was also filed by Brad Rosie. And
The original attorneys.
The original
filed motions
attorneys.
to rep him pro bono, free of charge.
Free of charge.
Wow.
And Allen himself asked for this to happen. So in part it reads, Andrew Baldwin, also Rosie, enters his appearance as Mr. Allen's privately contracted lawyer. Attorney Baldwin acknowledges his prior representation of Mr. Allen, his contracted public defender, and reaffirms that he, Attorney Baldwin, did not and has not voluntarily withdrawn from Mr. Allen's case in the said capacity. The filing of this appearance is intended to convert Attorney Baldwin's status in Mr. Allen's public defender to Mr. Allen's private counsel, wherein Attorney Baldwin will move forward with said representation on a pro bono basis in the event that he is not reinstated as Mr. Allen's public defender.
Whoa.
This denied by the judge today. Fran Goll.
What?
Yes.
Okay, wait. So two major things
Yes.
have happened here. So the original attorneys who the judge said withdrew came in today on the date where the new attorneys were coming in to pick the new trial date, and they said, we're going to be really clever here and file pro bono appearances so that we're repping him for free. And then the judge says, oh no, I'm denying those two appearances for you original attorneys who have withdrawn.
She
Matt.
denied their request, according to Scripps News Indiana, citing gross negligence for her reasoning.
Wow. And that was what to the withdrawal within the flurry of motions. She was saying strike from the record. They were saying essentially she was going to admonish them and say they were grossly negligent in representing Richard Allen when the leak happened, or they could withdraw privately and maintain their dignity, right?
Exactly. And then now they have said, we never wanted to withdraw from representation to begin with, and they were filing motions saying that they want the Supreme Court in Indiana to intervene and remove the judge, and they want to stay on the case.
Right. And so that's going nowhere because the judge is still saying, off the case, off the case. So the judge is being consistent, saying, you're off the case, you're off the case, you're off the case. Did not allow cameras in today when she did before, Matt Johnson, so we couldn't see what happened here. But we had wondered when you and I talked this morning on opening statements, was it going to be all four attorneys
Which it was.
battling? Right.
And the new attorneys, Robert Schremen and William Librato,
Yes.
they are in Allen County. This judge is in Allen County. Remember, she was appointed to the case after a judge in Carroll County, which is the Delphi area,
Yes.
withdrew. You know,
Yes.
so she was appointed, and that's the reason why for that emergency motion and that hearing a week and a half ago that we were in her courthouse.
This is something else. Matt, this really helps to get the lay of the land. So she's familiar with those two new attorneys she appointed. And so the ones who were previously court appointed offering to still work for free and represent Richard Allen, and he wants them, the judge is saying no.
So the big question now is, now that we have a trial date for next October, once again, a year from now, and the trial dates fall within Halloween. We have Halloween, 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 which is just weird in the case by itself, because remember that that announcement of his arrest was 1 year ago today. But now the question is going to be, since everyone is located legally in Allen County, will it change from a change of veneer to a change of venue?
Oh, that's a good question. We'll have to see. That may be the next motion filed, my friend. You're so smart.
Man, this shit's crazy. You can't make this stuff up. Truth is stranger than fiction, that's for sure. Oh my goodness. Okay, we got one more video news clip to look at, and then we'll be done. And happy Friday.
And then we uncovered who was the man accused. And then we looked at why they arrested this man. And we questioned, well, why wasn't he arrested like 5 years ago? It didn't seem like there was new evidence. It was just like finding his name under a pile of papers somewhere, which startled me. So I said, okay, all right. There was a lack of communication amongst law enforcement in the biggest case ever in this part of Indiana. Fine. Now we get to the defense case, and things are getting messy. The defense, you remember that the allegations of this Odinism, that these two kids were murdered in a ritual. That's what the defense is saying. Richard Allen's attorneys, his attorneys who have been so passionately representing him, lay out this conspiracy that involves prison guards, it involves local Odinists, and it's all sort of tied together, and Richard Allen is kind of stuck in the middle of all of it. Then there's a leak of some crime scene photos, and the court has been very careful in keeping all this stuff not in the public. Very little has been released in any of this for a couple of reasons. One, you want to protect potential tainting of the jury, right? You don't want anyone to get information ahead of the trial. That's number one. Number two is also protection of the family. And we're talking about crime scene photos. I mean, brutal crime scene photos of these two young girls who were murdered. And it was leaked, and trace the leak, it goes back to the defense. So this became a huge problem for the defense. Judge not happy. And then the attorneys seemingly withdraw from the case. Now they're coming back and saying they were sort of coerced into withdrawing from the case. I mean, it's a mess. So where we stand now is that everyone's going back to court, but Richard Allen has two attorneys that were his attorneys that are off the case, and he's got apparently new attorneys, but he wants the old attorneys. I thought it's a mess. It's a mess. So in court today, Caitlin Kendall from Scripps News Indianapolis has a report for us tonight.
That court hearing happened about 45 minutes late, and it only lasted about 15 minutes. It happened 1 year to the day that accused Delphi murder suspect Richard Allen's arrest was announced. Allen's wife and family in the front row of the court hearing, as they have been every time. He mouthed hi to them as he walked in his yellow jumpsuit and shackles. Also in the courtroom, Abby Williams found dead in February of 2017. Allen is charged with murder for their deaths. Allen's now former attorneys, Andrew Baldwin and Brad Rosie, were in court, despite their previous withdrawal from the case earlier this month. Judge Fran Gohl has now formally disqualified them from the case after Rosie and Baldwin filed to represent Allen pro bono following the withdrawal. Judge Gohl denied that request, citing gross negligence. Baldwin wasn't happy about that after court and spoke to reporters briefly after the hearing about the judge's ruling. Baldwin, can you provide any comment?
Journalism. It's time for you guys to start being journalists.
Gohl apologized to Allen for denying his request to keep Baldwin and Rosie, saying she cannot and will not allow them to represent him. She then officially appointed his new defense attorneys, Robert Scrimmin and William Labrado. Allen's new defense team requested that trial date that is originally set for January to be pushed back. The state and Judge Frangel agreed, saying they likely wouldn't be ready for that trial in January. That new trial date is set for October 15th. It comes nearly 8 years after Abby and Libby were found dead. In Delphi, Caitlin Kendall, WRTV.
All right, we also have the letter. Now, this is the letter. To me, this is very significant. From October 11th, Richard Allen to the judge. Please accept this letter as confirmation that I have communicated with my attorney, Bradley Rosie, regarding the circumstances regarding the leaking of sensitive information in this case. I am aware that images of crime scene photos and other related documents were taken by a friend and former employee of Attorney Baldwin at Attorney Baldwin's office. I have discussed with Attorney Rosie the potential impact that the distribution of these documents could have on my defense. Attorney Rosie has also communicated to me that the prosecutor has requested that my attorneys be disqualified from representing me in this case. I do not want this to happen. I want Mr. Baldwin and Mr. Rosie to continue to represent me until the case is resolved, one way or the other. I believe they are acting in a manner that is in my best interest. I appreciate your time and consideration in this matter. So the attorneys want in. They'll do it for free because he doesn't have any money. He wants the attorneys in, but the judge has disqualified them, and the prosecutor doesn't want them in. What's going on? Let's bring in our guests. Joining us in Indianapolis, Indiana, hosts of the Murder Sheet podcast, Anya Kane and Kevin Green.
So this whole thing just kind of upsets me. It's crazy. I can't believe what's going on. Oh my goodness.
In the biggest case.
Okay, well, that's all I got for Delphi News today. Sorry I didn't make another video, but I just can't. I can't do it anymore. All right. Thanks for watching my video.